This is Part 2, Episode 113. A cultivator's Tao is sturdy so that it can't be easily affected by outside forces. That is a Tao heart. Walking down the demonic path is like weathering through a cold wind that pierces through the body, attacks the heart, and takes over the soul. The moment Wang Lin's eyes became clear, there was a hint of surprise in them. With his cultivation and his sturdy Tao heart, what he just experienced was like a catastrophe. Nostalgia isn't scary. What is scary is when one is completely lost in his nostalgia, and is unable to bring himself out of it. If it was normal, this kind of thing wouldn't happen to Wang Lin, but Wang Lin had just walked down the demonic path. Although he had suppressed it, there were still some demonic ideals in his body, and that was the source of his nostalgia. In ancient times, cultivators believed that demons invaded people's bodies. They believed this because they thought that these demons from the unknown were merged with the heavens, were undetectable, and attempted to take over cultivators who were comprehending the heavens. From another angle, it means they are everywhere. The extraterritorial demon enters their body, activates the cultivator's Tao fire to burn their origin soul, and thus obtains the cultivator's life, destroying their Tao heart. In the ancient cultivator's eyes, these demons were very terrifying. If they made one mistake and allowed the demons to enter their bodies, they would ruin them forever. As the ancient cultivators died out and the cultivation alliance took over, the talk of extraterritorial demons disappeared and was replaced by logical analyses and rational calculations. The cultivation alliance refuted the existence of these demons. Instead, they believe that it's really a demonic ideal that is born in one's own body. This demonic ideal is not in line with what the cultivators comprehend from the heavens and thus causes an imbalance. One's yin and yang is not moving properly and their Tao heart is unstable, causing an illusion that affects the heart. This was what just happened to Wang Lin. His urge to return to planet Suzaku was the peak of his demonic ideal. If it continued, Wang Lin would have awakened on his own, but the time it would take could be short or very long. The appearance of the demonic soldiers and their demonic spiritual energy allowed Wang Lin to find an opening in his prison. The moment the 6 demonic soldiers' demonic spiritual energy surged out, Wang Lin had a moment of clarity. Although it was only a moment, it was plenty of time for him. He didn't hesitate at all. The demonic spiritual energy surged out from the demon crystal and quickly moved within his body. When the demonic spiritual energy collided with the celestial spiritual energy in his body, it created a vortex. This was created when demonic spiritual energy fused with celestial spiritual energy. For foreigners to the demon spirit land, demonic spiritual energy was like a replacement for celestial spiritual energy. When the demonic spiritual energy is fused into celestial spiritual energy, it can increase their celestial spiritual energy. Wang Lin hadn't fused them yet, because he was waiting for the right moment. The fusion was the reason why he was able to devour the 6 demon soldiers' demonic spiritual energy. Although this seems like it took a long time, it all happened in an instant. When 13 saw that Wang Lin had returned to normal, he let out a big sigh of relief. In his heart, as long as Wang Lin was here, nothing was a problem. He immediately arrived next to Wang Lin and looked at the demon soldiers with a cold gaze. The nervousness also disappeared from Hu Pao. He waved his hand to withdraw the soul fragments, and stood next to Wang Lin. The 6 demon soldiers, who had just lost their demonic spiritual energy, were extremely weak. They all revealed expressions of disbelief, and then looked at Wang Lin with eyes full of fear. The gloomy-faced man stood up and asked, in a serious tone, "Who are you, sir?" Wang Lin picked up the 3rd jar that hadn't been opened. He didn't even look at the other person, and began to walk out of the restaurant. 13 took out a few demon stones and placed them on the table before following Wang Lin. As for Hu Pao, he sneered as he looked at the demon soldiers inside the restaurant and followed Wang Lin. The gloomy person slammed the desk and shouted, "Stop." With that, he stepped forward and a powerful demonic spiritual energy spread out. The entire restaurant was surrounded by a demonic aura. The demonic spiritual energy solidified into swords and quickly rushed at Wang Lin's group. Wang Lin turned around and his eyes became cold. He coldly looked at the other and then waved his hand. A strange gust of wind appeared and the swords made of demonic spiritual energy immediately dissipated when hit by this wind. We will meet again. After leaving that sentence, Wang Lin walked out of the restaurant. The gloomy-faced person's eyes narrowed, then he looked at Wang Lin and began to ponder. After leaving the restaurant, Wang Lin didn't go anywhere else and directly went back to the inn. He sat down in the lotus position and began searching. The celestial spiritual energy moved slowly inside his body while he searched. When he entered that demonic state earlier, it made him feel a sense of crisis. He had underestimated the demonic ideals. Now he was carefully searching his body for various spots of demonic ideals inside himself. Every time he found a trace of demonic ideal, he would immediately expel it. On the morning of the second day, he cycled his celestial spiritual energy through his body multiple times, before he finally let out a breath of relief. At this moment, there were 3 black balls floating before him. These 3 cotton-like, little balls were the demonic ideals he had expelled from his body. It would be a waste to destroy this demonic ideal. If used properly, it can ruin someone's Tao heart and catch them off guard. Wang Lin's eyes lit up before putting away the 3 small balls. 7 days are almost up. The demon general said that someone will bring me to the barracks. As Wang Lin pondered, his expression changed and he raised his head to look at the door. Shortly after, 13's voice came from outside. Ancestor, someone wishes to meet you. Wang Lin's expression was normal as he calmly said, enter. After saying that, the door was opened by someone. 13 and Hu Pao came in with one other person. This person was around 40 years old, he was wearing black, was very thin, and the moment he entered the room, a cold aura surrounded the vicinity. The moment he entered the room, his gaze fell on Wang Lin, who was sitting on the bed. After examining Wang Lin, he clasped his hands and said, Greetings, Commander Wang. Wang Lin touched his bag of holding and a green token quickly appeared in his hand. He tossed the token forward. The steward of the army caught the token, carefully looked at it, nodded and returned it. Then he bit his lip and drew in the air. Soon, a blood-red formation formed in the air. This formation looked very complicated, but Wang Lin was able to see through it a bit. Wang Lin took back the token and softly said, Transfer array. The steward of the army raised his eyes to look at Wang Lin and said, Commander Wang is worldly, this is indeed a transfer array. However, this is different from your cultivator's transfer array. It was created by the Demon Emperor to be used for pinpoint transfer. With that, he took a step into the blood-colored array and disappeared. Only Wang Lin's group of 3 remained. 13 was very determined as they stepped into the array. He had made it his duty in life to protect the ancestor, and this transfer array was very strange, so he was risking his life to scout it out. Seeing 13's action, Wang Lin secretly nodded in his heart. He stood up and walked into the array. Hu Pao complained in his heart and quickly followed Wang Lin. At the moment Wang Lin walked out from the other side of the transfer array, he heard an organized, earth-shattering roar coming from all directions like rolling thunder. 13, who was in front, was immediately shocked by this and was forced to take several steps back by the sound. He was already injured from what happened before, and this shock caused the blood in his body to boil, forcing him to cough out a mouthful of blood. As for Hu Pao, although he wasn't injured, his body wasn't as sturdy as 13's. Under the assault, the demonic spiritual energy inside him went out of control and rampaged through his body. His face was completely pale. If it wasn't for the fact that the ancestor was here and he didn't want to make the ancestor lose face, he would have already sat down to regulate the demonic spiritual energy in his body. However, the more he tried to hold it in, the more violent the demonic spiritual energy in his body became. Just at this moment, a gentle force came from outside, and in an instant the demonic spiritual energy inside Hu Pao's body became obedient, as if they had met their ancestors. The demonic spiritual energy quickly returned to his meridians and went back to normal. Wang Lin lifted his right hand from Hu Pao's shoulder and took a step forward. A strand of celestial spiritual energy entered 13 and cycled once inside his body. 13 felt his body become lighter, and his injuries recovered somewhat. After doing all of this, Wang Lin looked around and examined the area. This was a barracks built with black stone that was about 50 kilometers wide. At the edge of the barracks were walls dozens of feet tall. There were fluctuations of demonic spiritual energy on these walls, meaning there were spells reinforcing them. Wang Lin had appeared at the center of the barracks. 100 feet before him stood rows of demon soldiers in armor standing upright. They all gave off strands of black aura, as if they were all demon gods. 1,000 demon soldiers made a regiment, and right now 10 regiments stood there surrounding Wang Lin. A powerful surge of killing intent quickly spread out. The killing intent of 10,000 people was not something normal people could imagine. Especially since these demon soldiers all had at least 30 ranks of demonic spiritual energy, and there were people who had more than 100 ranks. Aside from all that, these soldiers were all battle-hardened and had killed many people. With all the killing they have done until now, the killing intent has been instilled into their bones. Under this intense killing intent, the surroundings were completely silent. This kind of silence was very terrifying. 10,000 pairs of eyes all locked onto one person. The location of their gazes was also where they were concentrating all their killing intent. These 10,000 gazes weren't any weaker than 10,000 flying swords. Wang Lin stood at the center completely calm. The only thing that looked back at these 10,000 gazes were his cold eyes. When he walked out of the transfer array, these 10,000 demon soldiers gave him a roar filled with killing intent. This collective roar filled with demonic spiritual energy wasn't any weaker than the roar of a soul transformation cultivator. The steward of the army revealed a small hint of mockery as he let out a cough and said, "Where is Commander Sima?" With that, the sound of horses immediately came from the distance. A giant beast with a single horn rushed over. The beast was extremely fast and charged over like a crashing wave. There was a person standing on the back of the beast. He was wearing black armor with purple markings, a black helmet, and thick killing intent came from the only opening in the helmet for his eyes. Earlier when he first saw Wang Lin appear, he revealed a glimmer of shock, but that was soon replaced by killing intent. As this person charged straight into the area, all of the soldiers moved aside to make a path for him to charge directly at Wang Lin. The steward of the army waved his sleeves to create a gust of wind to blow away the dirt. Then he turned toward the black-armored person and said, "This is the newly appointed commander. Vice Commander Sima, are you not going to greet him?" He purposely emphasized the words, "Vice Commander." The black-armored person looked at Wang Lin with a gloomy expression and coldly said, "Sima Yang greets Commander." Wang Lin's expression was calm as he looked at the person and said, "We've already met." Sima Yang let out a cold snort and took off his helmet. It was the gloomy-faced person from the restaurant. The steward of the army had an unfathomable look in his eyes as he clasped his hands at Wang Lin and said, "Commander Wang, since I have already brought you here, I must head back. I still have to report back to the general." Wang Lin faintly smiled. "Thank you, Lord Steward." The steward smiled and nodded, then he took another step and walked into the array. After he left, the entire barracks was completely silent. Only the sound of breathing could be heard echoing the area. Sima Yang coldly looked at the Wang Lin and said, "All 10,000 black-armored soldiers aside from the 6 that are unconscious and unable to get up are here." Wang Lin's expression was calm as he looked at the demon soldiers. What he saw was hostility and disdain. His eyes became cold as he said, "All of you can leave." None of the demon soldiers moved an inch. All of their gazes were on Sima Yang. As long as Sima Yang didn't say a word, they wouldn't listen to anyone, even if the person was the newly appointed commander. Wang Lin didn't even look at the surrounding demon soldiers, and directly walked through the 10 regiments. 13 and Hu Pao quickly followed. Their expressions were gloomy and they remained silent. When the 3 of them left, a burst of laughter came from all 10,000 demon soldiers. This laughter was filled with contempt and disdain. Only Sima Yang didn't laugh. He frowned slightly. He didn't know much about the new commander, but he knew that if he was in this situation, he would definitely not be able to just calmly walk away without making a scene. Sima Yang frowned and said, "All of you can leave and continue to train." Although his voice was low, in the ears of the demon soldiers, it was like thunder. The 10 regiments quickly moved apart and began their practice. In the army camp, aside from rows of barracks, there was a very simple house, but there was a formation protecting it. There was a large black flag next to the house, and on the flag the name Sima was embroidered with golden threads. It was obvious that this house was where Sima Yang lived. Beside that house was the debris of a building. There was clearly another building here before. Hu Pao looked at everything before him, and after hearing the laughter coming from behind him, he angrily said, "Ancestor, these demon soldiers have gone too far." Wang Lin's expression was still calm as he said, "Don't bother with them. Since there is no place for us to stay, we'll just cultivate outside." With that, he found an empty area and sat down to cultivate. Hu Pao forcibly suppressed his anger, as he coldly looked at the scattering demon soldiers. He let out a cold snort as he walked to the left of Wang Lin, and sat down to guard him. Although 13's expression was gloomy, his eyes were very calm. He wouldn't even bother to think about the contempt the demon soldiers showed. He only knew that as long as Wang Lin said the word, he would attack without any hesitation even if it would cost him his life. 13 sat down on Wang Lin's right. Then he closed his eyes and began cultivating the giant demon clan's body refining method. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, it was night time. During this entire day, the shouts from the demon soldiers in the army camp never stopped. Their training relied on real combat between each other, and was focused on using formations in battle. The occasional demon soldier that passed by Wang Lin looked at him with a strong sense of contempt. Wang Lin's expression didn't change at all throughout all of this. He was like the water in a well, where no waves could be started. 13 continued to copy Wang Lin and continued to cultivate. Although ripples appeared several times in his heart, they were all forcibly suppressed by him. Hu Pao was the only one who couldn't remain calm at all. He coldly stared at every demon soldier that passed by. Not only was Wang Lin's expression calm, his heart was calm as well. He was not in a rush to rule this place, and was instead observing them all. Although his eyes were closed, he had spread out his divine sense, and was carefully observing every single one of the 10,000 soldiers here. Every 1,000-man regiment had a leader, and they were all Sima Yang's confidants. As for the 6 soldiers at the restaurant, although their cultivation levels weren't high, they were all important people here. The reason he didn't immediately act was because he had a good understanding of the rules of the armies within these countries. He gained his understanding from Lu Yun's memories. The 9 countries here all followed military law, and were very different from the cultivation world. Unless your cultivation is powerful enough to fight against the demon emperor, you must follow the laws of the country if you wish to borrow their power. All of the foreigners that come to the demon spirit land must first integrate into one of the 9 countries and get command over troops. That is the only way to gain a foothold here. If you are alone and you meet someone with tens of thousands of demon soldiers under their command, there is no need to even fight that battle. Although these demon soldiers' cultivation levels aren't high, a group of them is really powerful. Also, these demon soldiers specialize in formations. They have very mysterious and strange formations that allow them to catch people off guard. What's more is if one kills too many demon soldiers, the chief commander, someone almost as strong as the demon general, will appear. At that moment, a single cultivator won't be able to gain a foothold in that country. At that point, they can only quickly escape to the next country. If they continue to act like this, they will be forced to escape from one country to another until it's hard for them to go anywhere in the demon spirit land. They can only find an isolated place to cultivate, but then they would have no chance at getting military merits, and no chance to fuse with an ancient demon. All of this causes all of the cultivators that enter this place to try to get a position within a country. As a result, Wang Lin must obey the military law. If he breaks the military law, he will lose everything. Wang Lin was very clear about this. If he acted without thinking, it would be difficult to avoid killing when trying to gain control of the troops. Also, once these demon soldiers acknowledge someone, even if he killed that person, it might not be possible to gain control of them. In the end, he would have broken the military law, failed to gain control of the troops, and could only give up. Many powerful cultivators failed at this step. Of all of the thousands of people that come in, after a series of eliminations, only several people will be able to gain a foothold. Some of the cultivators have very bad tempers. When they encounter demon soldiers that disobey, they directly attack them. However, compared to the demon soldiers, the cultivators are foreigners, so the demon emperor does not favor them. This is why whenever a foreigner takes a position, there is an additional military law. If one person disobeys it, it's that person's fault, but if 10 people disobey, then it is the commander's fault. The interpretation of 10 people is very vague. It could mean a 10-man unit, or 10 individual people. That is why Wang Lin wasn't in a rush. He was like a hunter waiting for a chance. A chance for him to act to settle the entire situation. Time quickly passed by. Wang Lin has been cultivating at this open area for 3 days. 13 was still calm. 2 days ago, Wang Lin gave him a jade and told him to memorize the contents. He was currently still memorizing the contents of the jade. However, during these 3 days, Hu Pao's rage continued to increase. More and more of the demon soldiers treated them like they were nothing. In their eyes, their new commander really wasn't much. However, Sima Yang became even more on guard. He still felt like something was wrong, because the new commander was completely outside of his expectations. In these 3 days, not only did he not intervene in any matter regarding the camp, he didn't even say a word. He only sat there cultivating like he had died already. If it wasn't for the fact that one of them was constantly filled with anger, and was becoming more and more irritated every day, Sima Yun would be even more on guard. He wasn't afraid of Wang Lin acting, becoming angry, or intervening in matters of the camp. He was prepared for all of these situations. He would make Wang Lin look bad, or kick him out of this place. What he was afraid of was this silence that he couldn't see through. What exactly is this new commander thinking? Sima Yang was currently in his house, and below him sat 8 people. These 8 people were all regiment leaders. A very burly and bald man among the 8 said, "Lord Commander, Shuyu and Jukai have very little interaction with us. Now that Lord Commander has called everyone for a meeting, they haven't come. What does Lord think?" This person was wearing black armor, and gave off a sense of majesty. There was a scorpion tattoo on his bald head. This scorpion was very strange. It looked like it was alive and gave people a sense of discomfort. Sima Yang rubbed his temples. Each of these 3 days passed by like a year for him. The more silent Wang Lin remained, the more strongly he felt a crisis was coming. Sima Yang said, in a serious tone, "We will talk about those 2 later. I called all of you here to hear what you guys think of the newly appointed commander. We are all on the same side, so speak your mind. What kind of opinion could we have? That person is a waste, so there is no need to bother with him." The person who spoke was a middle-aged man. His face was filled with contempt, and he looked down upon the new commander in his heart. To be exact, he would never consider any foreigner to be worthy. Regiment leader Sun is wrong here. This new commander is probably a very calculating person. To be able to stay still and not do a single thing is not something a normal person can do, a white-haired old man among them said. Although this person was old, the black armor made him look very calm and stable. Regiment leader Sun let out a cold snort and said, "You're making too much of a fuss." Everyone had opinions about Wang Lin, but in the end no unified decision was made. Sima Yang rubbed his temples and said, "Okay, all of you remember to not actively provoke this person. I just don't believe he can stay silent for long. As long as he is the one who starts it, we have ways to deal with him." Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, Wang Lin had cultivated for half a month in the army camp. In this half month, Wang Lin didn't do a thing, he just sat there and silently cultivated. The army camp seemed to have become his cultivation ground. 13's heart also calmed down as he cultivated with Wang Lin. However, Hu Pao's anger continued to increase. If it wasn't for him being worried about Wang Lin's opinion, he would have already taken out his soul flag and had a great battle. Wang Lin's silence caused the contempt in the 10,000 demon soldiers' eyes to increase. Wang Lin didn't care about any of this. On this day, the regiment led by Regiment Leader Sun passed by Wang Lin while they were practicing. Regiment Leader Sun didn't hide the contempt and disdain he had for Wang Lin. He looked down upon the new commander from the bottom of his heart. Now that he was passing by, he couldn't help but spit and say, "Trash." The regiment saw their leader's expression and action and began to laugh. Their laughter was filled with contempt. At the moment that spit landed on the ground, Wang Lin opened his eyes. His eyes were calm and his voice was even calmer as he said, "Regiment Leader Sun, what did you say?" Regiment Leader Sun was startled. This was the first time Wang Lin had spoken in half a month. He sneered in his heart and said, with contempt, "I said you are trash." His voice was filled with arrogance, but before he could even finish speaking, Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he revealed a thought-provoking smile. His right hand moved like lightning and reached out, causing an invisible force to suddenly appear. Regiment Leader Sun's body was immediately suppressed by this invisible force, and was dragged toward Wang Lin without any ability to resist. Regiment Leader Sun's expression immediately changed and he attempted to struggle. But no matter how he tried, even when he used all of his demonic spiritual energy, it was useless. The force suppressing him was like steel and was squeezing him harder and harder. His body immediately flew toward Wang Lin, and his neck was caught in Wang Lin's hand. Blood quickly rushed to his head and his face became very red. The hand on his neck was like the door of death that trapped him there. Even in his current situation, he bulged his eyes out to stare at Wang Lin. He didn't believe this person would dare to kill him, but now he dreaded Wang Lin's cultivation. Wang Lin made one move and he wasn't able to resist at all. Even Commander Sima wouldn't be able to do something like this. Seeing that their regiment leader was caught, the 1,000 demon soldiers suddenly moved and charged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he said, 13. Recite the Sky Demon Country's 8th military law. 13 had been memorizing the contents of the Jade. Now that Wang Lin had asked the question, he quickly said, "Those who revolt against their superior, kill." Regiment Leader Sun's body trembled, and a bad feeling arose in his heart. He wanted to speak, but with Wang Lin's hand over his throat, he wasn't able to let out a complete sentence. Wang Lin's eyes were extremely cold as he revealed an eerie smile. He suddenly applied a lot of force to his right hand, and with a crack, Regiment Leader Sun's neck was crushed by Wang Lin before he could even say a word. At the same time, Wang Lin spread out his celestial spiritual energy like crazy into this person's body, destroying this person's cultivation. Even up to the moment of his death, Regiment Leader Sun was still filled with disbelief. He could never imagine that the newly appointed commander would dare to kill him. Holding the body, Wang Lin took a deep breath, then strands of demonic spiritual energy came out from the regiment leader, and was absorbed by Wang Lin. All of this happened extremely quickly. It was at the moment 13 finished talking that Wang Lin killed this person without any hesitation. At this moment, the demon soldiers that were charging over all stopped in their tracks. Their eyes were filled with anger. Those demon soldiers that were quick-witted quickly changed their gazes toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin threw regiment leader Sun's body forward. He then coldly looked at the demon soldiers and didn't say a word. The body landed before the demon soldiers. Upon seeing regiment leader Sun's confused face, anger arose in the hearts of the soldiers that were personally raised by regiment leader Sun. A person among the demon soldiers quickly shouted in anger, "Brothers, let us get revenge for regiment leader." After those words were said, a majority of the demon soldiers let out angry roars. They all charged at Wang Lin without any hesitation and released their demonic auras. In their eyes, Wang Lin was their enemy. Wang Lin's eyes became even colder and he softly said, "Revolting against your superior." He then revealed an eerie smile. He didn't fly up, but slapped his bag of holding, taking out his celestial sword. With one swing, a ray of sword energy charged out like it was going to split the heavens. The half-moon blade quickly followed and charged directly into the demon soldiers. Screams immediately began to echo within the area. For the Celestial Sword, dealing with these demon soldiers that were only at the core formation stage was too simple. With one flash, heads of demon soldiers fell on the ground. The chaos here was immediately seen by the demon soldiers of the other regiments, and their gazes all fell on their respective regiment leaders. The remaining 9 regiment leaders quickly charged over, and the demon soldiers quickly followed behind them. One of the 9 regiment leaders quickly shouted, "Stop." 50 kilometers wasn't a long distance. Soon, there was a dust cloud in the distance as 9,000 demon soldiers charged toward Wang Lin's location. Wang Lin didn't even look at them as he opened his arms, and the demonic and celestial spiritual energies in his body formed a vortex. At this moment, the demonic spiritual energy in the hundreds of demon soldiers killed by the Celestial Sword and Half-Moon Blade left the bodies. Then the demonic spiritual energy flew toward Wang Lin, and was absorbed by him. The demonic spiritual energy was very thick and created a vortex with Wang Lin at the center. When the 9,000 demon soldiers arrived, Wang Lin had finished absorbing the demonic spiritual energy. He pointed at the air with his finger, causing the Celestial Sword and Half-Moon Blade to fly back to him. The Celestial Sword and Half-Moon Blade floated above his head and released sharp vibrations. In a short period of time, more than half of Regiment Leader Sun's 1,000-men regiment died. The 9 regiment leaders were all wearing black armor and closed in on Wang Lin. Their gazes immediately fell on Regiment Leader Sun's corpse. The 9,000 demon soldiers all spread out and surrounded Wang Lin's location, and thick killing intent immediately filled the area. They were not simply surrounding Wang Lin, they were creating a formation, and the target was Wang Lin. 13 and Hu Pao immediately stood up and their eyes became cold. Especially Hu Pao, he licked his lip as he took out all his soul flag and coldly looked at his surroundings. Wang Lin was still sitting in the lotus position on the ground. Even when he was killing earlier, he didn't stand up. At this moment, even though he was surrounded by 9,000 demon soldiers, his expression was still calm, and he calmly said, "Are you all going to revolt against your superior?" The 9 regiment leaders' hearts suddenly became cold. The blood marks on the ground hadn't dried yet, and there were still severed skulls lying about. All of this immediately caused Wang Lin's image in the 9 regiment leaders' hearts to change. After hearing his words, they all looked at each other and didn't speak. Just at this moment, an angry roar came from the distance. Sima Yang moved like a raging gust of wind as he charged over. He passed by the demon soldiers and immediately arrived at the scene. Seeing the bloodbath that happened here caused his face to become extremely gloomy. He was meditating earlier, and when he heard the chaos in the camp, he immediately stopped. However, he didn't appear, but used a secret technique to contact the steward of the army. He waited until Wang Lin was surrounded before appearing. Sima Yun said, in a serious tone, "Lord Commander, no matter what reason, after you killed Regiment Leader Sun, you also slaughtered his soldiers. I'll not let this matter go." Wang Lin's expression remained calm, and he faintly smiled. 13. Recite the Sky Demon Country's 13th military law. 13 quickly recited, "Those who sage the military camp must retreat in 30 breaths of time. If not, kill." Recite the Sky Demon Country's 2nd law. Using immortal slaying level or above formations for internal affairs without permission must cease in 20 breaths of time, or else it is a felony. Wang Lin's expression was calm, and it was Sima Yang's face that became even gloomier. He immediately understood why this person, before him, didn't do anything for half a month. This person was waiting for a chance to act so that everyone would be caught in a disaster. Among the 9 regiment leaders, 3 of them immediately took a step back. They all looked at each other and saw the dread in each other's eyes. They didn't want to get involved in the dispute for the commander position. 13. Begin timing. Wang Lin closed his eyes and no longer looked at Sima Yang. 13's eyes were calm as he slowly said, 13 breaths of time have already passed. 16, 15, 14, 13. This video will end here.